Here we are in our 5th week of Radical. We've been working through what does it mean to live our lives in a radical way. Oftentimes when we live radically, it's different than the world. And the world says how we should live. And the world says that we should have lots of girlfriends or boyfriends. The world says that we should have lots of money. The world says some different key things that go against the Scriptures. And the Scriptures are kind of our sign to kind of show us how to live our lives. You see, I got some signs here today. This is from Wednesday. No mud, no shoe zone. We did an inflatable obstacle course. If you weren't here, sorry you missed out. We'll probably let you know about other fun events that we have coming up. Over here, we got from the harvest party. This sign was up and it kind of just showed everyone where everything was at. If you wanted to go to the games, you went over that way, and if you wanted food, you came this way, and if you wanted to go to the attractions, which I don't know what the attractions were, but they went that way. Prizes, I guess you came here, and restrooms, you went that way, which is a really good one to know about most of the time. But in signs, some of these signs, you know, they're kind of cautionary. They're kind of to let you know some different things about what is ahead. We have this sign. I don't know when this sign got given to the youth group. This sign's been in the youth group longer than I've been the youth pastor here at the church. But one way. If you were to drive this way on a one-way, you would be on oncoming traffic. Oftentimes, one-way streets have just enough room for cars going this way. And so if you come this way, you're going to have a problem. So, one way. This is letting you know what is happening on this road. Now, since this sign is gone, whoever took this sign or whatever where the sign was, it's going to be really difficult, and there's probably going to be some car accidents from this. So we got this sign, and I'm just going to kind of hang it out right here. Which is kind of funny. One way, no mud, shoe zone. Here's another sign. This one, if you can see it, says danger. Danger. Often, you know, this is one you want to pay attention to. This was a sign that was found on the side of Lewiston Hill underneath a power pole. Some guys were climbing up to the Clarkson Sea, and this was underneath one of the power poles, and they found it, and they said, this is kind of cool. And obviously it's not serving its purpose because it's definitely faded because you can barely make out danger. But this sign is something we need to pay attention to. And oftentimes there are signs in our lives that come that we all of a sudden are like, I need to pay attention to this. This is important stuff. If I don't listen to this, something bad's going to happen. Well, that happened to me. You see, as I was learning how to drive, I got a chance to drive to soccer practice once, and it was like the very first week that I had my license, and my parents had a manual, they had a 4Runner manual, and I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to open up the sunroof, I'm going to get my tunes jamming, and I'm going to get there, and I'm going to drive. And so I'm driving, and I get almost there, and there's this hill, and the hill is the steep, very, very steep hill, and at the top there's a stop sign. Then you go down this deep gully, and then you come back up, and halfway up the hill, it's even steeper, there's another stop sign right on the middle of the hill. So it's not like it hasn't leveled out, it's like on the hill. And so as a manual, it's really difficult to start on the hill. So I'm been thinking about this ever since I left my house to go to soccer practice, and it's tryouts even. And so I get to this place and I go down and I come back up and I see the stop sign, the warning sign, stop, 4-way stop, stop here. And there's a line and it has written on the ground, stop, that they really want you to pay attention. And so I come back up and I slow down, I'm slowing down, come up to the stop sign, I look both ways, and I punch it. Go right through the stop sign. Barely, I mean, not even a California stop. It was like I wasn't stopping at all. So I get to the top of the hill. A block later, not even half a block later, is soccer tryouts. And I pull into the school, and I pull into a parking spot. I'm 15 minutes early. I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. I look in my rearview mirror, and I see the red light. I've been pulled over for running the stop sign. And so the cop comes forward, and he says, hey son, did you see that stop sign? And I said, yes, I did. I saw the stop sign. And I'm kind of freaking out. I'm kind of like jittery and sweating and all this stuff. And I haven't even gone to soccer tryouts yet. And he said, did you stop at that stop sign? So he's getting more specific now. And I said, well, not as well as I could have. And he says, all right, license and registration. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe this. So I give it to him, and I'm just like, the funny thing was, the song Lean on Me, when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend, is on the radio, okay? So I'm like listening to this song, and like looking in my rearview mirror, adjusting it, trying to figure out what he's doing back here. He's giving me a ticket. Comes back, gives me a ticket. As this whole process is happening, all my friends show up. And I'm trying out for varsity. All the JV show up. All the varsity show up. All of the kids that didn't make the team show up. And they see me pulled over. And I'm trying to do one of these things like, oh, maybe they won't recognize me. But really, they were. And I had the warning signs. I had the capabilities to stop, but I didn't listen to it. And I learned. Later, years later, I went back and I said, all right, I'm going to make this right. So I went down the gully, came back up the stop sign, and I stopped. In the manual, put it in, revved the engines, kind of peeled out a little bit because it's kind of hard to stop on that steep stuff, and pulled in. The same thing happens, something similar happens to King Nebuchadnezzar here in our passage. I want to, real quick note, a couple weeks ago I was talking about the dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had about the tree and everyone underneath it, and it gets cut down. I think it was last week. And he goes out and becomes a wild animal. Turns his eyes to God. He's restored. All is good. Well, the fact is, what happened there is he didn't get restored and came back to his kingdom. He actually passed away, and his son is now king, which is King Nebuchadnezzar II. But it doesn't say that in the Bible. So, what happens is this. King Nebuchadnezzar throws this huge ball, huge banquet, food, drink, everyone's hanging out, everyone's having a great old time. All of a sudden, it's kind of freaky, a hand shows up on the wall and starts writing on the wall with his finger. Okay? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. This is nuts. And they're like, what? Did I drink too much? What is happening? There's a hand. There's no body. There's no arm. There's just a hand. And they're freaking out. Well, King Nebuchadnezzar decides to call the magicians and all the wise guys. All those guys come in to kind of interpret what is written on the wall. It's not in any language that they know of. Can't do it. So he calls in. His wife says, hey, remember that guy Daniel? Your dad really thought he was cool. He gave him some high position. He was a good guy, honest, and he's loves God. The one true God is what he says. Why don't you ask him? So they hunt down Daniel. Daniel comes in. And Daniel comes before the king, and he doesn't have a whole great relationship with him because he's just started. And so Daniel comes before him and praises him and kind of schmoozes him a little bit because what he's about to say is not something that he wants to hear. So he schmoozes him, and then we pick it up. Daniel chapter 5, verse 22. O Belshazzar, have not humbled yourself, though you knew all this. Instead, you have set yourself up against the Lord of heaven. Okay, Belshazzar being the king, right? You had the goblets from the temple brought to you. Okay, temple of God, taken out, hang out, part of the party. And you and your nobles and your wives and your concubines drank wine from them. You praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze and iron, wood and stone, which cannot see or hear or understand. But you did not honor the God who holds in his hand your life and all your ways. Therefore, he sent a hand and wrote on the wall the inscription. This is what the inscription said. Mene, mene, tekel, parsin. Alright? Sounds alright? This is what the words mean, says Daniel. Mene means God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Okay. Tekel, or tickle, I don't know how to say it, which means you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Okay, so you are lacking. You are not up to par. And then Paris, or Parsin, means your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Okay, bad news. Okay, king hears this. He's having a party, probably kind of tipsy, possibly drunk. Hears this from this guy that doesn't believe the same as him, but his dad thought he was cool, so he hears this. What's going to happen to Daniel? Daniel would think, oh my gosh, he's trying to look for the exit. He's like, I think the exit's over there. As soon as they tell him this, I'm going to run, because he could just off with my head. Well, here's what happens. Verse 29. Then, at Belshazzar's command, Daniel was clothed in purple, and gold chain was placed around his neck, and he was proclaimed the third highest ruler in the kingdom. Third highest. King, someone else, Daniel. What? Bad news, third in line. That very night, Belshazzar, the king of the Babylonians, was slain, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62. Hand, wall, writing, names are, you're going to die. This is what's going to happen to you. Good luck. All right, sweet. Here you go. Here's some nice stuff. I don't know if he was trying to make him change his mind or change things or whatever, but he gives him these nice things. That night he dies. The king dies. Here's Daniel, third in charge. King, someone else, Daniel. Didn't praise God. Didn't ask for forgiveness for taking the goblets. Didn't rebuke and say we shouldn't have worshipped gold and silver and wood and stone and all these things. Died. So I ask you, have you had someone in your life that has given you warning about something and you have listened to it and it's gone well? But I also want to ask, is there something that's given you a warning sign, like what we looked at here, and you haven't listened to it, and something bad happened? Danger, danger, danger. And you didn't listen to it and something bad happened. I don't know what life has been like for you, but you're going to go to small groups and you're going to talk about these things. And I challenge you to be open and honest about these things. I challenge you to tackle the tough stuff. Be honest with your group. What is shared in your group stays in your group. What's shared in your group is a safe place. And if you are going to share something that someone shared in group to someone that's not in your group, I need to talk to you, because that is not cool. We are a family here. And as a family, what's said in small group stays in small group. Now, unless it has something to do with hurting yourself. So, let me pray. We're going to go to small group. Let's talk about the warning signs that we've seen for different